Welcome back to the Brave Everyday Podcast, where we are unlocking our best self one episode at a time. My name is David Garcia, and this is my beautiful wife and co-host, Grace Garcia. And as you guys see, we have special guests once again.
Woo woo!
They are the most repeated guests on our podcast.
They're fan favorites.
Yeah, they're fan favorites. But there's a specific reason why they're here today. Last time that they were here, if you guys don't remember, this is my sister-in-law, Melody Guzman, and this is her husband, Kevin Guzman. They're here today again because last time that they were here, we were talking about your process of health and your weight loss journey, and that has produced something. And you guys probably know by now because they should be posting something on Saturday. But so maybe all you guys know, but maybe they're pregnant.
Woo!
They are pregnant.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. That process of the continuing on with the process of health and then what it produced and how long you guys waited. The whole process of the ups and the downs and the emotional roller coaster, the doubts and the challenges and so on and so forth. That's what we want to get into the nitty gritty of. And the reason why, I guess when I told Grace, hey, we should tell them, she told me that you guys were already talking about, doing it.
Filming something about it.
And I think it's great that you guys are here because I think a lot of people that we know are in a sort of waiting season. And I think to hear this story can give them hope and can give them faith and can let them know, hey, like it might be just around the corner, Yeah. And so, let's get into the nitty gritty. So you did your whole weight loss journey. How much did you end up losing actually?
So far, I'm at 88 pounds down.
88 pounds. So that's 300 all the way down to
212.
212.
Yep.
In a matter of how long?
It's been 7 months in total.
And how have you felt during those 7 months?
It's been, I think, an amazing journey. I expected it to be, I think, a little bit more challenging than it ended up being. Just how quick the weight loss happened, and then also just my mental health getting so much better and the food noise really dying out. All of that was like just shocking to me how quickly it happened. Definitely challenges in figuring out my new norm and figuring out not comparing myself to other people that have gotten the same, surgery and like they lose weight even quicker, things like that. But I feel overall that it's been an amazing journey and a very transformative one and brought us our miracle. And so it's just been a crazy 7 months, honestly, like insane. But I feel really grateful for the journey. It's been great.
So would you say the decision that you made 7 months ago, that is what produced your miracle?
I feel like God, I don't know. I feel like God needed for sure my obedience. Mm-hmm. And he needed to transform my body for this. Like, I think it needed to happen. But we've gotten like a word given to us that this baby also needs to be born at a specific time. Mm. And so I don't think it's like, I don't know. I do think like when we obey God, then God can, okay, like now I can do stuff. So I do kind of feel like I needed to get the surgery and it was kind of like an activation that needed to happen. So I guess this produced the miracle, but of course, ultimately God and God's timing. So I have no way of like confirming or denying if it was.
Well, what do you think, Kevin?
Yeah.
I do think that maybe like God needed to like prepare her body, like being where she was and then like making that decision of changing and, essentially just doing having a healthier life. I do think that was the first step in obedience. And then he, I guess, produced, the fruit. And I do think that probably, it needed to happen first. That way she could be at her healthiest so that she would be able to carry,
Yeah.
They do say, faith without actions is dead. Mm-hmm. So I think you guys, last time that we spoke, it seemed that you guys were at a crossroads and then you chose like, we're going to go down this path. We're going to believe that this is the right path. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was part of the journey, you know?
Yeah.
So to give a little context, how long have you guys been married?
We've been married for 5 years.
Going on 6.
Going on 6 in October.
Okay. Now we're talking specifically about the pregnancy. So you said 5 years and some months, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been wanting to get pregnant?
I, before getting married, was like, I'm going to wait 2 years and then want to get pregnant. And then right when we got married, like, it clicked and I was like, I want to have a baby now. So for me, it was almost immediately after we got married. And I would always like kind of try to trap him, try to get us to get pregnant. And he was very much like, no, like, I don't want to yet.
So you guys were just jujitsuing it up.
Yeah.
Every time.
And until a year on our anniversary, our 1 year anniversary, that's when he was like, okay, let's officially like try. And that was when we kind of were like, okay, we're going to full on like both try. So
4 years.
4 years of like both
4
of us
years,
trying.
both of us. 5 years.
Of
just-
me desiring to have a baby and like trying to make it happen. But
Okay. So walk us through this. You're 1 year married. She wanted a baby from the get-go, jiu-jitsu and stuff. 4 years, you both are like, all right, let's both try. What does your journey look like from the 4 year mark till before you got pregnant?
Yeah, that was really hard. I feel like from my perspective, it looked like my sisters got pregnant so quickly. So I just expected like, oh, this is going to happen easily. You know, like people always, it's like, oops, I got pregnant, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, first month goes by and I'm like, oh, damn, like it didn't happen. But like, I was already like imagining like I'm pregnant this month. Then the next month went by. I think at my 3rd month already, I was like already like, what the heck is happening? Like I thought this was supposed to be quick. And I remember having a talk with Nate's sister. And I was telling her, I was like, oh yeah, we've been trying for 3 months and it's already been hard. And she let me know, she's like, 1 month into it versus like 2 years into it, like it's still painful no matter what, because that desire is like there and you're disappointed each time. And so she's like, you know, I get you. And I was like, okay, like it gave me reassurance that I wasn't crazy for like being already so upset about it. And that first year, I think it got really taxing on us. We were just like trying so much. And towards the end, it was like we were literally just having sex to try to get pregnant. And if we didn't have sex and I thought I was like ovulating or something, I'd get in a bad mood because like I was like, man, like we could have like, we missed an opportunity that we could have been pregnant and like all this stuff. And it would just be like a lot of tension. And so going into our 2nd year of marriage, there was a lot of already stuff going on with like depression, but then also us trying and it not happening and then arguing around it and then finances and a bunch of stuff. And that's when we decided, we're like, you know what, we're going to take a step back and we're just going to enjoy our marriage and we're not going to like think about it too much. But it's inevitable to not think about it, especially as a woman. Every month you're going through your period and every month is a reminder, once again, you're not pregnant. And so for me, I personally felt like, yeah, from the beginning, it was just every single month felt devastating. It just felt like, God, when are you going to do this? And already by the 2nd year, even when I wasn't like trying or being like, you know, I was like trusting in God, it still felt like heartbreaking and very much a lone process. Even though I knew I had him and I knew there's like a million other women in the world that go through that, it felt so isolating because, again, as a woman, every month you're finding out alone that, okay, once again, this is how it felt. I failed. I felt as a woman. I felt as a wife. Once again, we're not pregnant. So that's how it felt for me. And it was just a very devastating, heartbreaking process. I can go more into it, but I want to hear your side of it from the beginning stages.
In the beginning, I guess I just felt like we were going through the motions and it wasn't so much like, I guess, we would hear other people getting pregnant. It was like, I thought it was going to be easy too. You know, this whole time I thought I was a year doing jujitsu, right? But I just like, maybe it was just God being like, nah, you know, and I'm over here thinking I was doing something. But then us actually trying, and then I feel like at first I was just like, okay, you know, it's okay, you know, like we're just starting, you know, it's okay. Like, it will happen. I believe it's going to happen. And so that, yeah, it was taxing that first year of us trying, like she said, because then it was just happening because we wanted to get pregnant. And then like how she said, we would get in fights or, you know, and then she's just like, oh, we could have had sex and we did it. And then, you know, whatever, we missed it. And then finally, when we sat down and talked about it, we're like, this is straining, you know, like this is too much. Like this is not how it should be. Like us just having sex just for the reason of having a kid. And so then after we made that decision, it was easier, like for us and on the marriage. But you know, you still think about like, damn, not again, you know? And so I feel like, carrying that up until now, just like always wait, every year it got harder and harder, you know, just like thinking about it, like, man, like just, that's another year older, another year pushing back the agenda, another year of like, I wish it would have happened already, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I would be thinking, oh, my parents are going to be older, being grandparents, and like all this, just thinking about it. And so the longer we waited, it was harder.
Yeah.
And I mean, I never really opened up to really anybody about it, just cause, I don't know. It's just hard to, I guess, open up about it. And then, you know, Mello would like, I would just like try to console her all the time.
And especially when I would get like pregnancy tests that I like full on were like, do you see the line? Like I see a line. And then he'd just be like, kind of like he would like
trying not to get her hopes up.
not try to get my hopes up, but like there'd be something super faint. And then he'd just like, I don't know, like we should take another test. And he was just very like, very cautious. Scared and cautious to make sure my hopes didn't go up. And the year before we got the surgery, or like, a couple months, I think, before we got the surgery, we got the most false positives ever. I freaking hate that brand. I think it's Pregmate or something, the brand. And like, I took probably maybe 11 of those tests and there was a faint line on each one. I was like, surely I'm pregnant. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't get faint lines. I showed you the faint line. I showed Steph the faint line. I was just like, there's something. And so I got like so excited. And then sure enough, it didn't. And those moments I think were the most like devastating, of just like conjuring up in my mind, okay, for sure it's happening now. Like God's answering this prayer now. And then seeing again or imagining these lines, and then like, okay, like it's about to happen. And then knowing that he's like cautious, and I'm just like, damn, like I feel bad dragging him in, and knowing he's trying to like guard my heart. And like, it was just like I guess like a little juggling thing for us, because he didn't want to like get my hopes up, but then I also felt so guilty making him have to like juggle my emotions and try to juggle his own emotions. And I knew he wasn't like vocalizing how he felt because he was trying to take care of me. And there was one day in, I think, us 4 years of waiting already, or 3 years waiting, where I don't think I've ever broke like that moment. It was a random day. I saw a random TikTok of a couple, and they were just talking about like, oh, you want to have another kid? And it was like, that was it. And I just lost it. And I just was like, why hasn't this happened? And I remember I called him on the phone, or you called me on the phone, I think, because I was just like, I'm not okay. And then you're like, what happened? I'm like, it's in regards to the baby. Like, I'm okay, but I'm not okay. Like, because he was just driving home, and I think he was like scared of what was happening. And when he got home, I couldn't even look at his face because I felt so much shame and guilt that I still hadn't produced a baby for him. It was like the most heartbreaking feeling. And I'm like, I know I'm pregnant. Like, so I'm like, it's okay. Like, it happened.
Get tissues prepared.
We're all good. It's all good. But I just remember like looking at him, and it hurt. Like, it hurt to look at his face. And like, I was like hysterically crying. Like, if literally like mom had just passed away, like one of those, like I couldn't control my emotions. It full on felt like the worst type of grief. And I remember I like would calm down a little bit, and then he like just would kiss me, and I just lose it again. I'm just like, I just felt so guilty that I hadn't had a child yet. And it was just like, I felt like I was stopping him from reaching his dreams of being a dad. And I felt so like a failure as a woman. I felt just like ashamed. And he never made me feel like shameful, or never made it feel like it was on me. But I think inevitably as a woman, you feel so responsible because, you know, everyone gets so like they're pregnant all the time, and then people around you that don't want to have kids are getting pregnant, and like that in itself was a whole nother ball game of dealing with our emotions. But yeah, that one day I think it just like broke me to a point where I was just like God, I don't like, just take away the desire, like please. Like I would rather God say like, you're never gonna have children, and me move on, than to feel that devastation of like hoping and just failing.
Yeah.
And after that, I don't really know what kind of happened. I don't remember why. I like kind of just like, I released it to God, and there was a lot of words that we eventually got that kind of like kept this going, and God knew exactly what to do to keep us afloat hope-wise. But towards the end, it just, I was kind of like, God, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm about to lose it. Like every single time, it just kind of felt like, I don't know what you're doing. I'm like this close on the verge of like losing it, which I don't even know what losing it means. I don't know where I was gonna go, but it just like, I can't deal with this anymore. But it has been a long journey before deciding to get the surgery. And again, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get the surgery, because I needed transformation. Doctors would see me and they're like, oh, maybe you have this, maybe you have endometriosis, maybe you have PCOS. That's why you're not getting pregnant. They would do tests. No, everything's clear. Everything's clear. And I was like, then what's going on? They're just like, you got to lose weight. And I was like, okay, but like, there's no answers. My hormones are normal, like everything, you know? And I finally was just like, I'm fed up with all these like roundabouts. So I'm like, I'm going to lose weight. Like, I'm going to figure this out. And losing weight really helped. It really did do something. So, yeah.
During this whole process, I mean, we know you guys.
Yeah.
And whoever knows you knows you. But for those who don't know you, Melody's very vocal. She's very big with her emotions.
Yeah.
Kevin obviously just said not so much. If Melody was a scale of 10 of like her emotions were like here, where would you say yours was as a man? Where was it up there as well, or was it like, hey, like, because I feel like some men would be like, because I believe most men are a lot of men are logical, right? So just like, hey, just give it another try and next month, you know, and just give it another try and next month. But for women, like they feel it more in the moment and just like, no, this is the end. Oh my goodness, you know, like, and for a man, we have to have like that in between. We have to build the bridge of like our logic, and our logic just says like, well, just keep trying, you know, like it'll eventually happen. And being that man, I was just like, I'm gonna be here for you, and I'm gonna have to like feel what you feel, and I'm gonna have to console you. And even though, because I think for a lot of men, we might even be fearful of those fears, because at least for me personally, if I think about myself tapping into those feelings, I go, well, am I going to lose hope too? And then we're both just going to be like lost, you know, rather than like a man's like, let's be more logical to steer away from the emotion. That way, at least one of us can at least portray having like a little bit more hope. You know what I mean? So
100%. A lot of it. So, okay. So part of that, what you just said right now about the one of us trying to keep the hope, that 100% played, because I would see her losing hope and I'd be like, no, but I believe that God's going to do it. Like he said it. And so like I have to believe. And so I'm like trying to encourage her. And so I'm like, I have to believe for the both of us. Right. So that 100% did play. I feel like for the beginning, maybe the first few years, it was kind of like okay, like it didn't happen, but you know, let's keep trying. Like, you know, like, I believe it's going to happen. Right. That whole thing. And so like she would get upset and I would be there for her. But I wasn't like necessarily upset, you know. It was just like, okay, like it didn't happen, but we'll try again.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me, and until certain people got pregnant, and I will omit names just for, you know, privacy.
Yeah, of course.
Certain people got pregnant. One person first, and then I was just that one. Like I got mad, and Mel, like, you know, we talked about like I can't believe, like, you know, this is, you know. Like, I can't believe they did this.
I eventually told her that we were upset.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe she did this. Like, she's so dumb and da. And that, like, made me lose it, right? Yeah. And so I was mad. That was the first time where, like, it really struck a chord to where, like, it really bothered me, right? And so that really hurt. That was the first time where I was just like, yeah, like, my emotions were just like, I felt devastated. Like, why for them, but not for us, right? And then since that moment, I do feel like I was like still very like, I was more emotional, you know, like when it didn't happen, I was like, damn, like this, it hurts, you know, it sucks. But I was, again, trying to keep the faith alive. And then someone else got pregnant and that one made me lose it even more. And I was just like, I remember I had a moment. I was walking our dog. It was night. The day that we found out, it was nighttime. It was like midnight or something. And I was walking our dog outside, and I was just like, thank God there was no one around, because they would have thought I was crazy, because I was just like crying and like I'm like, God, like why? You know, like why? Like why them? And I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it. I'm like, why them and not us right now? Like, you know the situation, you know where they're at and the way that they went about this. And I'm like, and then we're over here waiting, you know,
Doing everything right.
doing everything right. Exactly. And that one, just like, I remember that moment. I was just like, I felt so broken. And just being like, I was mad at God. And then I had a long walk for sure with the dog. I was just outside, like I said, and it was like midnight, and I was walking around, and I was just like, again, just like crying and just like fighting with God. And then I remember, like, at the end of it, I was just like, I'm like, but God, I'm still trusting in you and trusting in your word.
Wow.
I'm like, this sucks, and I am mad, and I am upset. But you said, you know, and so I'm going to choose to believe. When is it happening? I don't know, but God, I pray that it's soon. And from that moment,
A week later, we got a word.
yeah.
A week later, we got a word from Pastor Julian on stage while I was worshiping. And he prophesied about a bunch of things, but then he just said, like, there's one thing that you're praying for. And as soon as he said that, I was like, it was the baby. And then he's just like, it's like God saying, be patient, my love. And that was literally 1 week after we heard the news that someone was pregnant. And that one ripped us up. Like, that one tore us up. And that gave me so much peace, that word. And I put it onto my phone, and that was my lock screen. And I just was like holding on, like, God said, be patient, my love, it's coming, like, it's coming. And we just like held on to that promise. And that was, last year. And I think that, like, the last thing that was kind of sustaining us, like the last thing that was kind of giving us a float, because we were already kind of like, God, like, we know you're going to do it, because every single time I would tell God, like, just take away this desire. Like, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe I'm just going to be like the best auntie ever, and that's it. And I would literally like, God, just take it away. Every single time, without a doubt, someone would come to me and be like, you're going to have a baby. Like, your womb is not dead. Like, there's life. And they would just give me a word. I'm like, why? Like, why? God,
You just like, leave me alone.
yeah, like, don't inspire me if it's not going to happen,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so just like, we knew God's word kept coming like to pass, and kept saying like, it's going to happen. And so we like knew, okay, God, you don't fail. Like, we know that. Like, your word says you do not fail. And so we just kept holding on to that. And then again, when Pastor Julian gave us that word, I think we just like gripped onto it. And then we still proceeded with getting the surgery. Like, I don't remember the timeline of how things happened, but yeah, eventually we just got the surgery, and just was hoping that my health was going to come in order, and eventually going to help us get pregnant. And yeah, that was kind of like,
And I would always be like, especially like at church, whenever it was like either whatever was being talked about, or if there was someone that was there, I would always be, and I would see her, you know, like on stage, and like you know, like heartbreaking, like just crying. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's, you know, what she's thinking about, right? And so I would just be thinking, not every time, obviously, because you'd be worshiping God. No, I'm not saying that that's all she was thinking about, but like, I knew when she was. And so I would like pray and be like, God, like, like send someone to her and like encourage her, you know, because I could say anything I want, but like at the end of the day, like sometimes just like, okay, you know, whatever, you know, like, but when it comes from someone else, like, it's like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
So I would always be praying. I'm like, God, just like send someone to her. And I remember this one time, and it was it was last year, where I was on the side of the stage, and like I was doing audio, right? And so at one point, like during the altar call, like I had stood up, and I was just on the side of the stage, Like I stood up and then I was just like worshiping there. And then like someone came to me like, and then prayed over me and was like saying like, God has seen your tears. Like God has heard, like he knows the desires of your heart. He's like, and he has seen your tears. Like they're not in vain. He's like, keep trusting and keep believing. And I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like you got like God, like you hear me too, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, like that all definitely like encouraged me also just to like keep believing and keep like keep holding on. Like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You know.
That's so beautiful. And I have a question because I feel like a lot of couples go through this, and some are still probably in that waiting season, and same thing, probably feel like everything around them, like it's happening for others, everything around them, it keeps going on, and their life is like on pause, waiting. And so I have two questions. One is, looking back, do you feel like you would have liked for him to open up more to you? Do you feel like that would have helped? Maybe not.
Like Kevin.
Yeah, like Kevin vocalizing it, or maybe for you, would you have hoped you opened up to someone? Maybe not her, but someone. And then my second question is, when you when it finally broke you, how you said that those people who got pregnant, and you were like, God, it's not fair. Like we're quote unquote doing everything right, and then they are doing it wrong, and they get pregnant. It seems like you let her in a little bit more on your feelings of like, no, now it's affecting me. Do you think that got you guys like closer, like knowing like, okay, he feels it, he gets it, he's in my frustration, or not?
I think for me, looking back at it, I think he did it for them almost perfectly, because when I was devastated, like he would show that he cared, but without just us sitting in a hole of just darkness. Like he was always reminding me, and so in the moment I would get frustrated. Sometimes I'm just like you don't get it. Like this feels so alone and all that stuff. And I think again that's inevitable, because as women you find out all the time alone. Yeah. And so no matter what, I think it's a very isolating feeling. But I think like he did his best, always supporting me and like trying to make sure that I was uplifted. I did but like appreciated when he like would break down and like let me know how frustrated or pissed off he was about other people's, because I was like, okay, I'm not alone in this feeling. Like I'm angry as well. And knowing that he was like with me feeling it made me know, okay, he's not like numb to the situation. Like, you know, because there's times where again he was like so composed. And so I appreciated when he let me in, and I do think it brought us a little bit closer, and it like allowed us to understand like, okay, like we're valid in our feelings. Like we both feel this way, and it hurts, and like it just made at least me feel normal for being so angry at God in certain situations, I guess. And so I appreciated him being vocal in those moments. But yeah.
No, I do think that I should have opened up to somebody, because I know that there's people that go through it, or even just anybody, just to like vent, that wouldn't be her, because I don't think that she could have handled it at the moment, right? And so I do think I messed up in that sense, where I should have gone to someone 100%. But you know, hindsight's 20/20s. I know that now. But yeah, I do think that when I finally did break down, like that did bring a level of closeness. Again, just for her to know that I was in it too, like I was grieved and I was also thinking about this. It wasn't just on her, like she's the only one thinking about it. So yeah, I do think that it brought us closer.
And because from the outside looking in, at least from us, like it looks like you guys had a pretty like solid, like strong marriage. And I can't even imagine being like 5 years married or 4 years married, and then this kind of like looming overhead and not going away. Like, how do you feel like you kept your marriage secure? Because I feel like people go through divorce when they feel isolating, or something's not happening, or that like this tension, it's just there and it hasn't gone away. Like, how do you, I guess, give advice to couples who are going through this and they feel like their marriage isn't as strong, or it's like weakened? Like, how do you have a strong marriage with this kind of looming overhead?
God.
That's a good question.
It
like,
is
do
a
you
great
think
question.
I'm sure it's hard to imagine, but like, let's say it was another 5 years. Like, do
Yeah.
you ever see yourself divorcing him? Because I feel like I've never got that from you.
I've
But-
never considered divorce ever.
So what made your guys' like marriage strong against still facing this real big issue?
I would say that. Well, you want to go?
Well, I was just gonna, I guess, kind of piggyback or clarify. Like, basically, I feel like what she's asking in between the lines is, this is something that breaks a lot of marriages.
Yeah.
What helped you guys not break apart?
I feel like, at least in my head, it was never like I never held anything against her. You know, it wasn't her fault, and I did my best to always let her know that it wasn't her fault. And so I think that thinking it that way, like, again, it's not me against you, or you're doing this to me. Like, it's like, you know, like you're the problem. And let's say if it was like her, like it was her issue.
It was my problem,
yeah, but let's just say, we're not saying that it is, but let's say that it was. Like, even then, I'm like, I'm still not gonna blame her. You know what I'm like, for whatever the problem could be. Like, it's not like, oh, like now, like, forget this. You know, like, you're not giving me this thing that I wanted. Like, yeah, you know, whatever. And so again, it was never me against her, or blaming her for whatever the reason might be. It could have been my problem and I didn't know. And so I just think that, again, thinking about it that way. And also, we had talked about it before, where like, if we ever get to a certain point in our marriage, or we're like this many years old and we still haven't had a kid, then let's consider fostering. You know, like,
I've always had fostering on my heart. That's something that's still carrying in my heart. And so I feel like there's a bunch of things. So like, before we ever got married, I was told by a doctor it might be difficult for you to get pregnant because my periods were so irregular. And I remember we were just dating. We weren't even engaged. And I told him, this is what the doctor told me. And I want to let you know, because you have a right, if you ever decide to want to marry me, like, you might want an out. You might want to know, like, this might not be easy, and if that is your dream to be a dad and like it's difficult with me, I want you to like have an out now. So I literally told him, I'm like, if you want to break up this relationship because you know this is what the doctor said, like, I give you free range to break up with me, like, it's okay. And he was immediately like, what the hell, like, I'm not breaking up with you, like, it's fine, like, well, whatever, like, we'll go through
like,
it.
I love you, like, we'll get through this.
And so that was before we even got married. And then I think we always played the what if game while we were dating. So I think once hard things happened in our marriage, we already had discussed a lot about like how we would handle things. And again, for us, divorce is not an option. And so that was never discussed. Like, we never talked about like, okay, like, this is just too hard, let's just end it. I think even when I did have not resentment, but like, yeah, anger towards him, because I was always going to the doctor and getting checked, and then he wasn't going when I would ask him. I would get like frustrated because I'm like, what if it is not even my problem? This whole time I've been holding this guilt and it was always his problem. And I'd get like so frustrated just thinking about like, it's been on me. Like, this weight of trying to have a baby was on me. I think for the most part, when God sustaining our marriage, us knowing divorce was not an option, and then again, him taking care of me in the midst of everything. And then when I did, like, there was a breaking point where I was like, you need to like at least check your sperm. We did check his sperm and it looked completely healthy and like we were good. And so I think at that point we were already like knowing, okay, I need to get I was already, I think, talking to the doctors and things like that. And so we were already kind of like, okay. And I remember I was kind of disappointed. I wanted his sperm to almost be bad just because I was like, it would give me an out of all that guilt of like it being my fault. And that's horrible. That's a horrible wife thing. But I think it was just that pain and grief. Real. And yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, I'd rather at least be his problem so people don't blame me for this whole long time of us waiting. But I think, yeah, us constantly going to God's feet, like, even about our marriage, but like about the situation, about the pain, we were always releasing it to God and always surrendering it to him. And I think God sustained our marriage through that. And I also think we had a fun marriage separate from us not having kids. Like, yes, it was painful not having a kid and wanting to have a kid and all that stuff. But like, us still not having a kid, we still had a beautiful marriage. And like, we still enjoyed each other's friendship and like going out and all that stuff. And we would talk about it like, maybe it's nice not having a kid right now, because we would be able to go do stuff and like let's say you guys couldn't stay out that late because of the kids or whatever. I'm like, hey, like this is kind of nice that we don't have to deal with that. And so we try to look at like the bright side to not having a kid at the moment. And I think that helped us a lot as well, just kind of seeing the bright end, but then just having a good marriage without that, and then always talking to God, like, or even to each other, like, if God, if you don't give us this, like, are you still faithful and good to us, you know? And so we would even bring that up, and I think God continued to show that he was always good and always faithful, whether our dreams came true or not. And of course, it's easier said than done, but I think that's allowed us to like hold on to each other and hold on to God. And so I feel like it's for sure God 1000% that's kept us together. But I think just having like a friendship, and then also just discussing like what if it never happens, and kind of figuring out what is our life going to look like if this never happens. And just because again, we didn't get married to have children. Like that wasn't the sole purpose. And so it wasn't going to be the breaking point for us.
All right. I need transparency. I need honesty. I need to go into the nitty gritty of your marriage. I need marriage advice. Okay. I want to know what it looked like. Okay. Because I need help in this department. I'm not joking. Like, I want to know what it looked like. Me and you are different. You're a lot more patient than me, a lot more loving than me.
As soon as you spoke, I already knew. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's David.
I want to know what it exactly looked like. And that's why I'm asking for transparency and honesty, right? Because right now you guys are portraying, no, you know, we had some hard times and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, nobody truly knows what those hard times looks like behind the closed doors, right? Right now you're in front of a camera, you know, people are listening or whatever, and just like, okay. But I want to know exactly what it looked like when she was like losing it, and you were there telling her, hey, it's not your fault. It's okay. What's going to happen. We're going to keep trying. We're going to keep having faith. We're going to keep having hope, because again, you are a lot more patient than I am. Okay. My logic says this is the right thing for me to do. I'm going to tell her it's not your fault. It's okay. We're going to keep trying. It's going to be okay. Tomorrow's a better day, blah, 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 right? Like, give her the whole list of faith, everything, give her Bible verses or whatever, right? But I feel like, I don't know if all women, but I at least know this one. In those moments, they can be illogical and irrational. There is no listening in a common sense. Yeah. It's like their thing is, like, I'm in my feelings. I just want to just blow up in these feelings, whether it's 1 hour, it's one full day, whatever it is. But like, there's just like no, like, there's no going to the other side just yet, right? And as a man, we're like, how do we solve this problem, and how do we solve it as fast as possible so we can get to the other side, and we get to be to that place of hope, right? Because us men kind of already figure like, hey, tomorrow's going to be a new day, and tomorrow hopefully she wakes up better, and hopefully she sees a bright side, or she has a little more faith or whatever, right? But in those moments, that's where I fail. Because I give her the whole spiel, and she's like, no, but blah, 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 and I'm like,
you're like, okay, screw it. Then you feel like that.
I don't know how to have more patience. I don't know how to have more, I don't know, grace or whatever. Like, and so like, that's why I'm asking you guys, what does it look like? Because you said he was near perfect. You
In
said
the moment,
that
it didn't feel that way. But yeah, now looking back.
Like, I'd like to know what exactly it looked like. Like, did it look like her just being irrational, and you're just like, you just had to keep repeating the same thing? Or did you get tired of him repeating the same thing? You were just like, Kevin, I just don't want to hear it. Like, what did it look like? Because I think those moments right there can be make or break moments for a marriage. Because I feel like many times I have failed, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, forget it. Like, deal with it yourself then. And part of my thing is, in those moments, I'm like, I'm man enough to know that I need to do something. I don't think I'm man enough to stay in those feelings, because those feelings, I think, scare me. And so my thing is, let me try to fix these feelings as fast as possible so I can feel better. And hopefully her feeling better makes me feel even more better, because I'm like, I did something. I did something good.
You want to get out of it as soon as possible.
Because if we sit in those feelings, I go like, I just constantly hear failure. You couldn't help her. You couldn't, she's sinking and you couldn't like save her or whatever, right? And so I just choose to walk away, because I'm like, I can't, you know. And it always comes off brusco. It always comes off like, you know, you're on your own, whatever. But my thing is just like, I feel like I keep failing. I see you sinking and I'm grabbing onto you and you're like pushing my hand off and you're still sinking, but you're like, save me.
And then you're like, screw you.
Yeah. Just like, all right, she wants to sink, you know?
I feel like it. Okay.
I personally don't feel
it?
like, thinking back, I don't think it got often to anger. It was very much just brokenness. I showed you brokenness. So I think that also is very different because I like even when I lost it, I never was like, why is this not happening? Like yelling at him. It was very much just like, I'm broken and I don't know if I believe. Like, I don't know if this is actually going to happen. And I don't think you really ever came to fix it. Like, I don't think you were ever like, okay, like, let me try to fix this moment for the most part. I feel like he was always just trying to like, you understood quickly because in other arguments, I would let him know that I don't need him to fix things all the time. I need him to just sit with me. And I feel like there was most of the times you would just kind of like be with me, let me get everything out, hold me, console me in whatever way possible. And then I think, I don't even remember I don't remember you being like, okay, but it's gonna happen. Like, because I think in those moments, maybe you did it once or twice. I'd probably be like, well, you don't know, or whatever. I feel like for the most part, you just like sat with me in it and like allowed me to know my feelings were completely valid. And then if like the next day or whatever, you would be like, God gave us a word already and like just remind us of the promise. But it was never you trying to like fix my emotions because you know the emotion, there was nothing to fix. Like, like the only way it would be fixed is God providing or like a baby or like God fixing those emotions. Like there was nothing you could do to fix the situation. There was no, like, how do you reason with a woman that's grieving her child that's not born? Like there's no way to fix that situation. There's no way to like, okay, now I'm going to like patch it up. And so I personally think what helped us in those moments of breaking moments is because I came broken. I didn't come like he's against me or I'm against him. I just showed him like my vulnerability and showed him like how hurt I was. And he just sat with me through them. And I think you chose wisely as possible. And I know there's been 5 years of all this. So like, I'm sure there's moments that it didn't go perfectly, but I think you were really wise at when you chose to like give words of encouragement or give words of like reminding me of what God said. Because you knew I knew everything. Like you knew I already knew the words that God had given us. You already knew that like, I knew that God was faithful. So I think you were just very wise at like when you were going to remind me of what I already knew. But I think you just did a really good job sitting with me. Mind you, this is in regards to baby stuff. When it comes to other arguments, it plays out very different of like, okay, like I don't know how to help you. Like today I got really upset about food because I was at a point where I was just like, I was hungry and then I got nauseous and then I was just like not good. And then he was trying to help me. And then he was just like, I don't know how to help you. I'm like, just don't even help me. And he's like, okay, like he had to just, okay, you're going to screw yourself over. And so there's been moments for sure when that happens. But when it came to the baby area, I feel like you never try to fix it.
Yeah, I had to navigate that very differently and I had to learn that really quick because like how you said, like there was a difference between arguments and then like the whole pregnancy emotions, right?
Yeah.
Like how she said, like when it came to the brokenness, again, she didn't come to me like fighting me and blaming me. Yeah. She came broken. And so I mean, it's still tough being like the husband and be like, I can't do anything about this. Like I literally can't do anything about this. Yeah. And so I just had to sit with her and like let her feel what she needed to feel. And again, like not that I'm not trying to fix anything. I'm just there with you. And like know that I'm here with you in this,
Yeah.
And like how she said, like I would either be the next day or maybe later on when she was like more like calm, where I would like remind her like, babe, like I love you and we need to keep believing that God said it, you know? And so I feel like that was like in those instances, it was, I guess, a little bit easier to try to navigate that just because I'm like, I know she's not mad at me, she's not like I'm here and I'm hearing this, like she's directing it. She's not even directing it at me. She's just saying what she's feeling. And
or telling you what I'm telling God.
Exactly.
Like,
And I'm like, and again, you would say like, I'm mad at God. I'm like, yeah, she's not mad at me. Like, you know what I mean? And so,
God, that's all you.
And so I'm like, God, that's you and her. Like you yeah. I'm just here. But yeah, when it comes to like other stuff, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, and I think
100%.
men naturally just want to fix things, and women, there's times
100%.
where we're like completely illogical in our feelings, and we know we need help, and we know that there could be help, but we're still not processing that. Like we need to go through the emotion. So I think like what you said is complete, but when it comes to the baby, that never really happened because again, it was never like like it was very much just like this. I'm hurt in this area or whatever. So I get you completely, and I think this has happened in our life for sure in other circumstances.
100%.
But I think you do a really good job.
Said in every area.
No, but I think in a lot of circumstances, like you've just learned to like. There's times where you need to hear me out and just like not try to help, and I think you're really good at that. Like you're good at just like. But I think it's also because you just. It takes you a long time to conjure up advice or like conjure up like how to fix the situation. You're very like he just internalizes things a lot. So. But there's definitely times where you're just like, okay, then you're gonna be like that, and then I'm just like, he was supposed to help me fix this, and then like I want him to fix it, but he's just like, bro, this is going back and forth too much. But that's usually those kind of arguments happen mostly with food. So
100%. And I mean, we talked about it last time how like the whole food stuff and like her being mad like before, you know, and now the whole pregnancy thing that's a whole nother story. Again, I'm like, oh Lord, I'm like,
I don't want to get stuck on this too much, but I kind of want to read between the lines and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've heard was with the baby stuff, there wasn't an expectation on Kevin. You were just coming with your brokenness. You were being vulnerable, sharing your heart. And if anything, if you needed anything from him, it was just him being there with you. Whereas with other arguments, it seems like there is a bit of expectation. Like you need to do something, you need to change something, you need to you need to fix this, but I don't want you to fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
And I don't want you to fix anything. Just be
okay. I'm gonna ask my next question. In hindsight, you guys you're in the promised land right now. Okay, so in hindsight,
hold on, since you just said that, let me not forget.
Oh yeah, he was like, I'm gonna bring this hat.
Woo!
Let's go.
The dad club.
I got it for Father's Day. He's very proud to finally use it. Like he's so excited to wear it.
All right,
continue.
You guys are in the promised land. In hindsight, how much weight would you put on the comparison? Because from what you guys have said so far, you guys have talked about other people that got pregnant and that affected you a lot. How much did that? Obviously, it weighed on you a lot. But in hindsight, would you have wanted to change that perspective? Do you think you needed that perspective? Do you think it was necessary? Do you think it could have been avoided? Do you think it did you more harm than good?
It definitely wasn't for every single pregnancy that happened around us. It was mainly pregnancies that were like out of wedlock and things that were like, okay, to us, again, is not the right way to do things. Like God won't bless that. And then boom, they're getting pregnant. There was a lot of pregnancies around me that they would be like a little hard because I'm like, damn, like I know they weren't trying, but like, you know, they're married and like they wanted another kid. And then I would just be like, okay, like God, like bless that. And it would be like a little difficult, but I wouldn't resent or like have hard feelings for it. I think it's inevitable to be in the infertility journey and not get upset at one point or another when someone else that you know doesn't want a child and then gets pregnant because you're just like, what about me, God? And so I personally don't think I think those feelings were almost necessary so we could have that argument discussion with God and like get to that point again where you're being as authentic and real with the Lord. Because I think again, when kind of things are like on the like, oh, some people got pregnant, it's fine. Then you're not bringing it to God because you're just kind of like, it's okay. But it's like when those real like you're pissed off moments, I think is when you can really test God and like trust that He can handle your arguments and your anger and everything. And so I don't regret having those feelings. I think they were very valid like emotions, and I think it showed me. I made me love God even more because in every season of my life when I've been very angry at Him, I've never seen Him turn His face away from me. And so I think it just re-solidifies my faith in like this God that I serve is so faithful. And even when I'm angry and even when I'm like raising my fist and like yelling at the sky, He's still so faithful to be like patient with me, loving me, and remind me of what He's given me. And so I personally, hindsight, love those moments of where I was pissed off at God and I was able to see his character. So, yeah.
Yeah, same. I do think having those moments of where, not necessarily, well, like comparison, because I'm like, I try not to compare myself to other people like often, just because, you know, everybody has their own life and everybody has their own journey. And I mean, I try to remind her all the time, I'm like, let's not compare ourselves to so and so for
You
whatever,
did it today,
you know.
yeah.
I did it today for whatever reason. Just like, let's not, because, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. And so I try not to compare myself to other people when they have stuff that like I don't have. But like I said, like there were those moments where I was hurt and I was definitely devastated, but I don't regret, again, having that conversation with God. The same, what she just mentioned is just like, God was still faithful, you know, like, again, it's not wrong to be mad at God, you know, it's like, but it's wrong if I don't bring those feelings to him though.
Yeah.
You know, like I can be mad at him all I want, but if I'm giving it to him, it's honor. I'm honoring him because I'm going to him with the feelings that I have about him, whether they're negative or not. But when I go and let's say I'm mad at him, but I don't bring it to him, and it's just like,
And you take it out on the people or whatever.
Take it out on people, whatever the case, then it's wrong. And so seeing that like I can bring these feelings to him and he is still faithful, and it's just like, it's not wrong. It's not wrong to have these feelings. He's literally like, you can be mad at me all you want, like, but you're coming to me, like that means you and I are right here. We're close. And that's how I felt. Like I still felt like in the brokenness, like he was near. And so I don't regret that one bit.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any more questions?
Good. Not at the moment.
Okay, cool. I got him. I was just trying to be nice. All right.
If I had a question, I'll interrupt and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have a question.
You guys have been serving in church for the longest of times, ever since you guys were babies, really. You guys got married serving together. You guys have been nonstop serving. You guys haven't stopped at all. How was it going through this roller coaster of emotions? How was it going through, especially you, like, I might be pregnant, false positive, like this huge high, and then this low. You're reaching the highs of highs and the lows of lows, and still knowing, oh, in a couple of days I have to go worship and lead worship for this congregation.
And believe for others.
And believe for others, you serving as well. Like, how, talk to us about what it was like in the low moments. Talk to us about what it was when, like, was there ever moments where you're just like, I just don't feel like it today? And did you ever like just say like, I'm going to take a day off? Or was it like, no, you know, I'm going to continue going? Like, how did you navigate all that? How did you continue having faith? Like, leading worship, like you're leading a whole, like you are responsible for leading the whole congregation into a special place with God. And I mean, one of the ways to do that is, you know, to proclaim faith and to proclaim that good things are going to happen, and for them to believe in a living God while you're on your lows. Like, talk to us about all that.
Yeah. It was definitely difficult in certain seasons. I'm trying to like remember. I feel like it's been so many years of just so many different types of how I came to the Lord. But I think for the most part, when I come to God, I'm just so grateful. This sounds horrible, but I'm so grateful that I lost my mom when I lost my mom, because it taught me what worship was going to look like in the midst of grief and in the midst of pain.
Yeah.
And because I worshiped through that, I knew how to worship through this. And so when I had my hopes and then it would crash down, I would bring that to the Lord. And I knew, sometimes I think, sometimes I would knew how to like categorize it and put it in boxes and like, okay, God, I'm upset with you, but I'm still going to show up and just like, we're going to be good on platform. But in this little area, you know, I'm still mad at you. And so I just show up, serve, and know how to like categorize it and put it in boxes where I knew God was faithful because I seen him provide in my life in the past. I've seen him provide for other people. And so it was very easy to like, I believe for everything, but this little one box I'm still upset about. And so I knew how to like compartmentalize, I guess, those emotions. But then there was also a lot of moments where I was authentic on platform, and I would let the congregation know, like, I'm in the middle of waiting and I'm in the middle of that pain, but I also know that God's come through, and I would let them know like my past of like seeing God's faithfulness, and then remind the congregation, like, I'm not saying God's faithful from a place of like, I have my miracle already. I'm saying God's faithful because I've seen how he's done things in the past. And even in the midst of my breaking and hurt, I know he'll come through, because that's what I choose to believe. I choose to believe that God is who he says he is. And he is the God of the Bible. And like, he will provide what he said. And so I was very authentic with the congregation. And I think that's allowed the church to know, I think, my strength, not as my strength, my own, but like the Lord's strength, because they've seen someone on platform go through the highs and lows and know that they're going to continue to show up just because they're faith of God. And so I think that's inspired other people. And I don't do it to like, oh, I'm going to like say this just so it, like, I'm genuinely saying that on stage, like breaking, but like believing at the same time. And so I think it's just that in between of compartmentalizing at certain moments where I had to like just show up. And even though I was angry with God, like this thing just happened this morning or whatever, compartmentalizing certain moments. But then on other moments, when I did have that little mustard seed of faith, I showed it to the congregation like immediately and showed them, this is what worship looks like. It's doing it when it's not easy. Like, that's what worship is. And so I just try to be as authentic as I possibly could, because I also know that, again, I believe truly that God is who he said he is going to be. So I know that as I'm telling you this story of this is really hard right now, I know one day, and I'm believing one day I'm going to tell you it happened and God did what he said he was going to do. And I've told you from every pit and everything, every high and every low, I've been telling you God's going to do it. God's going to do it. And so now that I'm on the other side, it's just an insane experience, but I'm so happy that I was able to bring the church through that and my family through that and all that stuff, because they've seen that I've been faithful to the Lord. God's been faithful to me through all of that up and down. So now that I'm on the other side, I hope that just inspires them even more that, like, yeah, it's been 5 years of painful ups and downs, but like God, if he said he would do something, he will do it. And so, yeah, I'm grateful that I've been able to do and pour out the way I have. Like, it's an honor. Even though it's been painful, it's an honor.
That's so beautiful. And I think people are going to like rejoice in your story. Not, obviously, like just in itself, like the fact that you guys have a baby and it's a miracle growing, but I think letting them into in real time, like, this is what I feel. I think people have related and have followed your story, that they're going to be like, oh my goodness, like this is part of our joy too, you know? But where did you learn? Because I feel like it's so refreshing to see a worshiper in real time, not having it all together and kind of inviting us into your life. Well, did you see that somewhere? Did you learn it? Like how easy was it for you to bring him in? Were you scared how people were going to react? Like how did you become that?
I don't know.
Like, have you seen that? Like,
I feel like mom, 1000% in the midst of just her going through cancer and then like seeing her serve and like show up at church. It just was like she did it through going through cancer and her body failing her, and she still would show up for God. And so knowing that God deserved honor and glory no matter what, I think kept me just like going, because I knew, like, where else am I going to go? Like, he's my father, like, you know? But I think the Holy Spirit is so beautiful that he allows us to know when is the right moments to, not even, because in the moment, I don't think it's the right thing to say. That I'm just kind of like feeling that tug from God to like say something. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to be faithful with this. And sometimes I'm like, is this even the Lord? Like, you know, you do so much doubt in like when I'm going to say something, but I just go through with it. And there's so many times where I would get off platform, I'm like, why did I open up about this? Like, why did I share this? Like, whatever. And I just like second guess everything. And then someone, sure enough, would come up to me like, thank you so much for what you said, or like, thank you for opening up about what you did. And it just kind of reaffirmed me that even when I do stuff scared, or even when I do stuff kind of like not sure, God's mercy and his spirit is so faithful that whether the moment was perfect or not, like he's going to be glorified regardless. Like, I think sometimes we're so scared of making mistakes or saying things at the wrong time, But I've been very much like, but we've done this a lot in our life where I'm like, as long as we're walking, God can lead us so much easier versus us. Like, I'm not going to say anything, God, until you say yes. Like, sometimes that's even like, God's like, I just need you to open up your mouth. But we're like, no, I'm not going to say anything until I know for sure it's God. And it's like, sometimes just walking and like being scared about it, but like walking still, God can direct us and show us like what's the right way. And when we do make a wrong step, he's so faithful at like forgiving or mercy and like covering it up or whatever it is. So I think the Holy Spirit allowing me to just navigate being on stage and trying to say the right thing or share the right moments. And then I think back at my mom all the time where I just like, who am I to not worship the Lord? Like, who am I to not bring God what is his and to honor him? And I think I've always been a public person for the most part, just because I think we've always been on stage and platforms. So I've never been scared of showing my mess per se. Yeah, and I think that allowed me to just like open up. And I even right now that we're really early on in our pregnancy, I know a lot of people, there was one person that was like, don't share until you're like later on because you never know what's going to happen. And I know like there's so many fears and the world reminds you that something could happen. But I just choose to believe that God gave us this, and whether or not he chooses to take or, you know, whatever he does, have been so public about my journey that I would want people to know that I'm going through that situation too, to help them in that situation as well. Like I know I'm saying this, not have gone through it, but every time something really difficult happens, you could see it like one or another way. Like it's just, you could see it as like God did this to me and whatever, or you could see it as a privilege of being able to show who God is in that circumstance. And so I feel like I'm very public with my journey of like pain and whatever I've gone through, because even if, God forbid, this baby, like I don't get to go to full term and I lose this baby or whatever, I know that it still would be an honor to go through it, because I know I would help somebody and I would show God's character through that circumstance. And I'm not saying that like trying to be like naive or like, you know, like I don't know what that circumstance feels like, but I've gone through hardship before, and I've just seen God always be glorified in that pain and in that brokenness. And so I'm just a very public person because I know God will turn everything for good. And so it's like, I'm just going to walk and show. That's just how I am as a person. I'm very public. And so I think just a mix of a little bit of everything. I'm just like, God made me the way I am. I'm a public person. I personally enjoy letting people into my life because I've heard so many people's testimonies of them in the waiting as well. And it's just a privilege to be able to like know other people's circumstances and pray for them and to be in that journey with them as well. And so I just feel like God just made me the way I am, and I am the way I am for a specific reason, and I'm grateful for it. But the Holy Spirit, I think mainly has just been guiding me through this whole journey and knowing what to share and how to share it and all that stuff.
I love that.
You guys have both gone through some hardships. Obviously, with losing your mom, you were there with this long process. What advice would you guys give to somebody that is maybe just in a relationship with God, or also is serving at church and is going through a hard time? And I mean, right now we live in the culture where, I mean, there's so many different avenues that you can take, and they're all justified and they all sound wise and they all sound right? Somebody could be like, I'm going through some hard time. I need to take some time away. Mm-hmm. I need some time for my mental health or my spiritual health, whatever. I need time to be mentored. Or your route, hey, just keep going, keep being faithful, be vulnerable, be transparent, share it. What advice would you give to those people? From your perspective, your opinion, it may not be right for somebody else, but just like from whatever you guys think. Let's start with Kevin.
Yeah.
What advice would I give someone that's going through a hard time, like you said, serving, right? While they're serving?
Yeah, while they're serving. Like, would you tell them keep going? Would you tell them, hey, I don't know, look for prayer, stop?
Take a Sabbath.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think that it would be different for everyone. Again, our route was continue to serve. There is no shame and nothing wrong with taking some time off and like needing to clear your head, or like needing a time to like process, right? If something's going on. I do think that no matter what you're choosing to do, whether you're still serving or you're taking time off, you need to be intentional in continuing to seek God. Because there's no point in taking a Sabbath or taking some time off if you're not going to him, right? Because he's the one that's gonna sustain you. Exactly. So if you're not going to him, whether that's while you're still serving or you choose to take some time off, or you're not going to him, then it's all pointless.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna help whatsoever.
I love that.
So that's why I do think if you want to take a Sabbath, take some time off because you're going through something, take the time that you need.
Yeah.
If you want to continue to serve through it, all good, as long as, again, you're going to God continually. Because if you're not in either one of those circumstances, then there's no point. It's not going to rejuvenate you. It's not going to help you when you come back, you know, or whether you're still serving, you're just going to feel broken and burn out. Yeah. And so, again, if you're not going to him, then it's whatever you're doing, it's pointless.
I love that, babe. Yeah, I feel like it's a very personal thing with you and the Holy Spirit. Like, I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, ask God. Like, I think there was many of times where we went through our journey, and if we ever felt God, like, or if the pressure be too much and God tell us like, hey, take a step back, by all means, like, we'll take a step back. Like, there's been times where it feels like, oh, this might be a little bit too much, but we never felt that God told us, hey, I need you to take a step back from this. And it could just be, that's our calling, that God wants us to serve in the midst of everything. But that might not be somebody else's, where they want this person to, hey, I need you to like reel it back in because you're serving so much because you think that it's going to produce an outcome, but it's not going to produce an outcome. I need you to like trust me. Maybe God's calling them to ask, like, hey, take some time and just sit with me. And so I feel it's a very personal thing. Ask the Holy Spirit. And if you feel like I don't know what the Holy Spirit's saying and you just feel drained, take a sabbatical, you know, like, or take some time off. If you don't feel drained, but you just feel like I don't know what I'm doing, I always say, like, just keep walking forward. And if you do eventually feel drained, you can always take a step back. Like, it's not going to be like a do or die situation. Just, I personally feel like if God's not asking you to stop serving, just keep walking forward, and he can always tell you to stop, like, you know, versus if you stop and God's like, I didn't ask you to stop, and you're just already not even listening to him, it's a little bit more difficult to like, okay, let's get back into it. Personally, that's how I see it. But it's very personal. And I think, like, don't compare your journey and feel like, well, with us, it's like, oh, no, I have to keep serving because they still serve. This is just our way we did it and the way we felt that God was calling us to do our life. But for sure, like, there was a time when we first joined into RTLA and we're so used to serving, and we could have just started serving immediately, you know, but we knew God had not called us yet. And so we took some time to just not serve. And that was very weird and difficult. And we didn't start serving until we felt God push us there. So trust the Holy Spirit, pray to him. And I think just no matter what, surrendering it to the Lord in whatever choice you make, that's the ultimate. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate. When you surrender to the Lord, that's when he's going to be able to like hear you, and like, or you're going to be able to hear him. It's just surrendering to God. That has to happen for you to be able to hear him out. So just do it no matter what. Surrender.
What's that saying of like your emotions aren't truth, but it's like a
gauge? Yeah,
like it's a gauge. So I love what you guys said, but I'd add, like, if you're getting bitter, like serving, then it's like,
that's good. Yeah,
you know, like, step away. If like you, like in your case, if you were worshiping, for example, and you're like, oh, I have to pray hope over them, or like, they don't know what I'm going through. Yeah. Then that's gauge good. Of like, okay, you're not in the right place.
That's good.
The other thing that I thought about while you were giving your answer is, in both scenarios, whether you take a sabbatical or you don't take a sabbatical, let's say you take a sabbatical and you said, like, if you're not, you know, seeking God, if you're not being sustained by him, but also I would add, like, if you're not meeting with somebody also to help you work through it, that would be important. But also now gearing towards you guys, both in leading the worship and the sound stuff that you do, you guys were obviously going through hard times. You took a little longer to have like those emotions, those really big emotions or whatever. But when you guys had those big emotions, did you guys, like, were you guys being pastored by somebody, mentored by somebody that knew what you were going through and did those little checkups to be like, let's make sure that, you know, Melody's not pouring out like this. Yeah. I don't know, like some sort of toxicity or whatever. Same thing with you, like that you in some way are affecting the team or affecting yourself or the way that you serve or the way that you see God. Like, did you have anybody like that, like checking in on you, like because when we rely just on our feelings, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be treacherous sometimes, right? And so it's always good to have a fresh pair of eyes. It's good to have somebody on the outside being like, hey, like, let's steer you this way or that way or whatever. So what was that like?
I feel like I was really open with people around me, like in our team. But Pastor Nate, humble Pastor Nate, no, he really. I think that's why when we did tell him the news and he like cried, I feel like he knew exactly, not exactly, but like he knew what we went through because I was very open with him about my journey and letting him know like my hopes and doubts and all of the in between, and even when it came to my weight and just like frustration and everything. And so I feel like he was really faithful in walking with me and making sure that I wasn't spewing like toxicity and making sure. And he was very quick to like, if you need to take a break. Like, no, you need time. Like, you know, he was very quick at like making sure I was okay. And so I feel like Pastor Nate did an amazing job at making sure I was okay, and making sure I was guarding my heart. Other than that, I feel like it was just opening up to like your parents and opening up to other friendships around me and just like letting them know where I was. I feel like they got to see like, okay, like they saw that I was hurt and stuff, but they never were like, oh, you need to take a step back from like serving. And there are people that I trust and like have been in ministry for many years, and you know, they love the Lord and I think have a lot of reverence for the Lord and the things of the Lord. And so if they were to tell me, hey, you need to take a step back, I would have trusted their insight. And so I feel like just being open with people like that, leadership, people that are ahead of us and more seasoned in life. So that was very helpful for me.
Yeah, same. I would say same thing. Like Nate, 100%. I did talk to him a few times in regards to it. Like I never really went into like crazy detail, but he did check up on me and see like kind of like where's my heart at in this season, right? And I was honest with him and I told him, you know, what I was going through. And so having him knowing that, I was definitely beneficial because I knew that I had someone that was checking in on me. And then the same thing, having friends around us that we felt, at least in that season, we had friends that we were very open and honest. And again, it was that they knew our hearts and, yeah, they knew our hearts. And so we were able to be open with them and just kind of like this is happening. And then they would say, you know, whether it's like a just, man, that sucks. You know, but like they're hearing us out, you know?
Yeah.
But it was never that like negative, like we didn't have that negativity. Like people around us were like, oh yeah, man, screw them. Or, you know, like, no, we didn't have that. Thank God. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, we definitely had people around us during those times when it was difficult that we could actually go to and talk to. And that's 100% recommended to anybody.
Don't do life alone.
Do not do life alone. You need people in your corner, 100%.
You guys did an amazing job with documenting how you guys told everybody.
Yeah, I'm so excited to share it.
I have a question. Are you guys going to show Kevin's reaction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have like his snippets. I don't know if he wants to show like
But it was like
the
20
whole,
minutes of me.
yeah, the whole clip of him like losing.
It wasn't like 20 minutes. It was like 5 minutes, right?
See
You guys
the whole
didn't see the
thing.
whole
No,
clip
I
of
saw
me.
her like fast. Yeah,
Yeah, I was fast-forwarding it.
Oh.
It's
I
like
was
a 20
standing there
minute.
staring at that test
Yeah.
in disbelief.
Yeah. So, well, can we talk about that too? Like finding out
Yes,
was
of
insane
course.
because I was at a point where we got given a word in January that we were going to have a baby before our 7th year of waiting, which to me is right before we hit 7 years of marriage, but then also I'm going to be 30.
He was very specific with you when he said that you were waiting for 5 years.
Yeah. He's like,
So
you've
he
been
didn't
waiting
say
for 5
4
years.
for us. He
Which was
said
insane.
you were waiting for
Insane.
5.
You were there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, you were there.
And he was like, you've been waiting for 5 years.
So 7 years would have been 7
our
years
doctor
married.
told us wait 2 years until you get pregnant after the gastric sleeve surgery. That would have mean I would be getting pregnant or trying to get pregnant in my 30s, and 7 years of us waiting. And that was devastating when I first heard that. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to do the surgery regardless and we'll see what happens. And so when he said you're going to have a baby before the 7th year, before the 2 year mark that the doctor said, the 5 years that I had already been waiting, it was just insane. And so we went into this year and he was just like, babe, like it's going to happen. He's like, when you don't like feel hopeful, remember this. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be good. Sure enough, 5 months into like after the word or 4 months after, I'm like, when is it gonna happen? Like, you know, and I just like, I would calm down. Like my hormones was just kind of also figuring themselves out after the surgery. But like there'd be times where I'm just like, oh, I'm good. Like we're good. Whenever this happens, it's gonna be perfect. And then there'd be like, God, I need to have this baby already. And so in May, I feel after preaching, I don't know where, just like we need a fast. And it was a very specific fast because I can't even really fast food. And I felt God say fast sex. And I was like, fast sex, like if you know me, that's really difficult. And so I was like, God, like this is crazy. So I remember telling him in the car, I'm like, babe, I feel inclination for God. God's telling us to fast sex. And he's just like, really? Like why? And so I tell him what I've been feeling. And then he's just like, okay, like sure. And so I was like, okay, just a week of, you know, fasting. And for me, I was like, man, this probably is a week that I'm ovulating, like a week that we're missing out, blah, blah. But we're like, we're going to take this time to pray for our son because we've been feeling that we're gonna have a boy, and we're gonna pray for him, and we're gonna pray that God gives us like revelation and just like all this stuff. So we fast in May. At the end of our fast, we tell his parents, hey, we've been fasting, and we just felt like, you know, to prepare, like God's telling us to prepare. So that's when I started to like, okay, I feel like I need to start preparing the room, but I hadn't really done anything yet. And then they tell us that night, they're like, well, his mom is like, yeah, like you need to prepare. But his dad just like, go watch Facing the Giants. And we're like, Facing the Giants, like a football movie. And we saw that movie when it came out. It's 20,
Christian movie,
it's a Christian movie. It's 20 something years old. We saw it when it came out and we were kids and never thought anything about it. So he's like, watch it. There's a part in the movie that I want you to see. And we're like, okay, found it on YouTube, free. Watch the movie. It's amazing. Had no idea when we watched this movie, the whole movie's about, their journey about infertility, and they've been waiting for years and all this. And we're just like, Kevin literally at one point he was
I've seen this movie, I don't know how many times, when I was younger. I never thought that 20 years later,
it would speak.
That this movie would be my life, you know?
Yeah.
Like it would be speaking into me, like they're going through this and I'm like, holy smokes. I'm like teary, like the first time ever, like teary eyed at this movie. Like I've seen this so many times, but it hit.
And you
so
at one point
hard.
you're like, maybe this is too much to watch.
I'm like, this is a little too real right now.
Real. Yeah. And so we're watching this movie, and then there's a specific part of this movie that I ended up posting on my TikTok, and it's just talking about preparing for rain and preparing the land. Like if you believe that God said it will rain, but one farmer is actually preparing the land and the other one isn't, who do you think actually has faith?
Wow.
And so we see that part and we're like, holy crap, like that is insane. Like we've already been feeling this inclination to prepare. So we finished the movie bawling our eyes, literally crying, and just like FaceTime his parents, and we're just like, we saw it, like it's amazing. Thank you so much for recommending this movie. We feel so inspired. And so we start fixing the nursery. We buy things off Facebook Market. We start preparing the nursery. And I start making videos on TikTok saying, preparing before I actually have a baby. And so I feel ridiculous preparing for this child that I'm not even pregnant. I don't know when I'm going to get pregnant, but I'm like full on. I start preparing the room. I'm making those videos. I feel completely ridiculous making all of this stuff and like posting it. Cause it's like, I honestly was like, what if some people were like, you're being ridiculous or whatever? And I even saw one person say like, oh, I did the same thing. I prepared. And then I got rid of everything because I wasn't pregnant again, like after a year. And they did it again. I was just like, what if that's me? Like I'm preparing for all this stuff. And what if it's too hard after a year or something? And I have to get rid of all this because it's just causing more pain. Like I, at one point even thought that, but I was just like, no, I feel like I need to prepare. Like it was just like a strong sense of like, and I was like, we need to clean things out. We need to get things ready. Like just, I needed to, like, I felt like I was nesting, like full on nesting. And sure enough, I was pregnant through that whole preparation mode, which I had no idea. And so I think I've started getting like sore boobs, TMI, and like cramping. And I'm like feeling this stuff weeks before I'm supposed to get my period, but I'm just like, I don't know, my hormones are like kind of regulating whatever, like the surgery's been causing other stuff like that. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. But then it's getting closer to like when I'm supposed to get my period. And I just one day, 2 days, I think, before finding out, I like, I'm losing it that day. I just like start crying. I'm just like, I can't deal with another period. I cannot deal with another, like taking a test and like trying to see if I'm pregnant and it be negative. Like I can't. And so I like make a video about that. And then I'm telling God, I'm like, God, I can't do this again. Like I feel like, I'm like, it's not despair. Cause I remember like the Pastor Julian talking about like being despair. And I'm like, I had despair before, like just like, it's not going to happen or just, yeah. But I'm like this now, my despair isn't there. It's desperate. Like, I'm like, I need my baby in my arms. Like I just felt desperate to have my child. So I tell God this, and then there's the night before, we're going to TJ Maxx, and we're walking around, and I'm like, damn, I really wish I was pregnant around this time because I want to tell your dad on Father's Day, and like, man, this would be really nice. But I'm like, whatever. And that same day, he had come home and like laid on top of me at one point, and I was just like, babe, you're crushing the baby in me, like just joking, because whatever. And I kept saying like, maybe I am, but like, you know, we've gone through that. And so whatever. That like night, I told God, I'm like, God, I want to take a pregnancy test tomorrow, but like, if I take another pregnancy test and it's negative, I'm gonna lose my mind. So either give me a dream that I'm pregnant or tell someone to tell me like, hey, take a test. Sure enough, I have a dream, but it's very vague. And so I'm like, wake up. I'm like, was that God? Like, I don't even remember the dream.
You,
I
like,
just
imagined it?
Yeah, I'm like, I remember I was kind of pregnant in the dream, but I don't really remember. So I'm just like, should I? I'm like, fine, I'll take it. Take the test. Before the timer is even done, I'm like, I'll just look at it because I'm sure it already says like not pregnant. And I didn't want to like say it. So I like look at the camera before I look at the test, and I just like don't want to say it's going to say not pregnant. So I'm just kind of like, we'll see, you know, but I don't have the faith. And I look at it and boom, pregnant. And I'm just immediate, like, this isn't registered. Like, no way. Like, it's not registering in my mind. I get up, I'm shaking, and I'm looking at him like, there's no way. Like, I know it says pregnant, and this one's not gonna lie. Like, you don't get false positives, and it's so like, you know, pregnant. I'm like, it's not like a line. I'm trying to guess if it's there. I'm like, this just says pregnant. I'm like, what the heck? Like, there's no way. And so I just feel like I was standing there for like 16 minutes, just kind of going through like my eyeballs, like trying to figure out what my brain is thinking.
Watching that whole video, you could just see
like, I'm
every
just, like,
thought going through her head. She's just like,
I'm not thinking about, I'm just like, what do I do? Like, okay, I'm pregnant. And so anyways, I try to like, I wake him up eventually. I set up the nursery with a little onesie that we already had, and then the pregnancy test. And I like, how do I get him to get up and see this test? Eventually I conjure like a way of like making him wake up early on a Saturday morning, try to make me breakfast and get him into an outfit. And like, he's like so groggy. And then I'm like, oh, come into the nursery. And he's like, what? And he goes. And do you want to say your perspective from that when I tell you to go and you're at the door?
yeah. So the first thing that I notice when I open the door and I go through, I see like my phone or your phone, whichever one was recording. Yeah. That's the first thing I see. And then I see her smile. I'm like, was she trying to prank me? You know, like I don't know what the prank was, but I'm like, I see the phone, like you didn't get me, you know, whatever you're gonna do, I'm like, I got you. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I'm like 8 something in the morning. He's just like, what the heck is he doing?
She literally woke me up from sleep. So I got out of bed, and the whole time just like this, I'm like, what the heck? And so like nothing's processing, nothing's working. My brain up here, I'm just like on autopilot, just like making her breakfast or whatever. And so when I go into the room, again, the first thing I see is the phone on the nightstand, and I just think she's like playing a prank. But then when I look down from the phone and I see the test, I haven't even looked at it. I'm like, that's not real. I'm like, and then she's just like, look at it, you know.
I'm like, just get closer, get closer.
And then like when I finally like, I'm like, I walk up to it slowly because I'm like, no, you know, like there's no way, like, this is not real. And so when I get to it and I actually look at it and I see it that it says pregnant, I'm like, again, that's why my clip is like so long, because I'm like, I'm literally holding this pregnancy test and just I'm not saying anything, and I'm just like in disbelief. I'm like, and I tell her afterwards, I'm like, I've never seen this say pregnant. You know, every time we've looked at tests, it's either, you know, like there isn't that second line or it says not pregnant. I'm like, so seeing it say pregnant, I'm like, I was just locked onto it. I'm like, is this real, you know? And so like that video, she, you know, she's like trying to talk. She's like, oh my, like, you know, this happened. She's
believe it either.
She's explaining everything that was happening, and I'm just still just in disbelief looking at it. And then finally, like when it starts hitting, I'm like that, I just start to cry. I'm like this is real, like, you know, like you're pregnant. And then then we
were
just
there for like 20 minutes, and you prayed over us, and we just like hugged and just kept both being like, I know, like this doesn't feel real. Like we just both were like in shock. And then after that, I'm like, should we take more pregnancy tests? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And so I found a couple more that I had.
He took one too?
Yeah, he took one. It said pregnant too. No, but like we take them, and a couple of them are the line tests, and boom, dark line, boom. And we're just like that's real, because I've always had to like look at those lines and like literally put flashlights behind them to see like, is there a faint light? Like I was that person. And so we take those tests and it's and we're just in shock. And I'm like, how are we going to go today to see you guys at Biola, like, and not say anything? And so we go to church and everything. And we're just like, this biggest secret and joy is on us. And we're like, can't wait to share. And so that's when eventually we go ahead and call you guys to come to the house. And
yeah, that day was crazy because
he didn't want to come.
Nobody knows, but we were supposed to take a Vegas trip this year.
Oh,
at
yeah,
the end of the
yeah.
year. And we were having a conversation at the dinner table, and you were asking something about shows. And somebody said, "Oh, you should do this show, whatever." And you're like, "David, put it on the list."
Yeah. I was trying to make sure like
it wasn't even a necessary lie. You just like,
But it was good enough to continue it. You know?
yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
obviously. But I'm like,
because we also were debating, should we still go to Vegas? Like we were still kind of debating a little bit, but yeah, no.
yeah. And then after, I guess you guys went home before us or something like that.
Yeah.
And Grace is like, "Oh, Melody's telling me that we should go over," and I'm like,
You were
I'm
over the
way
day,
too
yeah.
tired. Like I'm ready to go home. And there was like so many different reasons.
Elijah wanted to sleep over.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm
you
like-
guys, I think, had already taken the kids. I think.
No.
Nate took them,
How it works
but-
is you're like, oh, I'm gonna go take the kids. So then you were using the excuse they're gonna have to take the kids.
Yeah.
And then Carrie's
And the
like,
cricket.
I'll take the kids.
And I told you I need you to pick
And
up
then
the cricket.
yeah, but no, Carrie told me I'll take the kids. So I was like, Melody, Carrie will take the kids. I'll see you tomorrow, like whatever. And then you're like, oh, I have your cricket. Come pick up the cricket. And I'm like, oh, Carrie wants the cricket. She'll just go. And you're just like, come over.
I was like, the nursery. I really wanted to show you the nursery.
That's what got me. Because then she was like, "Babe,
I'm like, come
they
on,
had
David.
set
I'm
up
gonna
the nursery, and they want us to go see it." And I looked at her. I'm like, "They set up a nursery?" Like, yeah, like they're
He clearly doesn't follow my TikTok page.
They're
Who's not following Melody?
Follow me.
they're preparing or whatever. And I'm like, and I looked at her and I'm like, "Do you think that's a smart idea?"
Yeah, he told me. He was worried about your heart.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, like let's just go see it." And I'm like, "All right, it's the nursery or whatever,
Yeah.
let's go see it, whatever." And so we go, and then basically the same thing that happened, Kevin, happened to us.
You guys are
We
shocked.
walked in the room, and she's the only one curious. I slowly walked in the room. I'm like, and I looked at her. I'm like, "Oh, that looks really nice," like
Yeah.
there were you guys at the dresser and like pictures and
cool,
stuff,
cool,
whatever.
cool.
Yeah. I'm like, we saw it. We're leaving. Bye.
Yeah, like,
No, I saw the tests from far away. You see me like see the tests.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like they're praying over the tests.
I
Like
thought we had,
I
like-
thought it looked like an
Like
altar.
an altar.
Yeah, literally. And I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And so I
it felt like such a long moment.
yeah.
But it does in the video. It doesn't translate.
No, but it's because I saw it and I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I like got closer. And then I'm like, I pick it up and it like I saw that it said pregnant. And again, in my mind, it seemed like long. But in the video, I was like, wait, I actually like went through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Got it so
But
quick,
it's pregnant. And then I was like, wait, are they like, is this someone else's? And they're like, again, like manifesting, like this is gonna be their pregnancy test. That's why I was like, stop. And I think it took me off like what is it, like off guard. Like I was not expecting it. It was crazy. And so I could not believe it. And
Yeah.
I was like crying. I knew I was always gonna cry in the moment. And then I
Yeah.
was just like it's here.
I
And
know.
legit, I went so that morning, because we're gonna see you guys, like
He was like,
I was like, Mel was
tell
like,
them.
I need to tell them, I need to tell Grace, like, we need to talk to them. And I'm like, what was it? Like she texted you. I'm like,
I was like,
ask
oh,
her
you
if
coming
David's
to-
going.
yeah.
Because I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
David has no reason to go to
the
Biola. thing. I'm like,
graduation.
only,
No
only
reason.
you. Like you're the only one that had to be there. Like David was like had zero reason to be
Just say
there.
I'm a metiche, bro.
Like, he literally
No,
had
but you
zero
said you
reason.
wouldn't have gone. You were like, why am I here? Like you even were like, why'd I come?
Yeah.
You didn't have to be
So
there.
there was no so I asked him, like, ask her if David's gonna go, and then I can't remember
Yeah, I
what you
asked
said,
if
and
you're
then
coming,
like
and then
you're
you
like,
said yes.
yeah, the whole family is gonna go. I'm like, okay, God, you
And then I
literally
said
want us to
dinner.
tell them right now.
No, and then
'cause,
I
like,
said, oh, do you want to go dinner? You're like, oh yeah, and he's like, perfect. Say like yes, like
I'm like,
we're going
say
to eat
something
with
noodle
them.
because it's right there by the house, and
Yeah.
there's perfect.
Oh, yeah,
They're gonna
you said
come right
something.
now.
He's like, that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was so excited. And yeah, we knew. I'm like, I need to tell somebody like today. There's no way. And I was like, if I tell Grace, she needs to tell somebody. So I'm like, I need Carrie and Nate to know like immediately after. Which our plan was we're gonna tell you guys, then have Jesse and Stephanie find out, and then go tell Carrie and Nate because like we knew they needed to know. And it ended up happening the way it happened, where like Carrie was already there. Nate ended up finding out, and then we told Jesse and Stephanie. But it was just amazing. And I still that night went to go get 2 more tests because I was like, what if it was like just like I don't know, like I don't know what I thought. So I took 2 more, and I was like, this is like diluted pee where it doesn't have the HGC levels as high as like the morning, and boom, lines came out. I'm like, this is for reals, for reals. And then the next week, I still was like, what if that was a chemical pregnancy? Like I still was just in so much doubt. So I still took 2 or 3 more of like the other ones, the little small pregnant ones, and boom, strong lines, and was like, okay, this is like legit. And so then I was like, maybe it'll feel really real once I go to like the hospital and we see the heartbeat and everything. We went to the hospital, saw it, and we still were like, this doesn't feel real. Like it just still doesn't feel real. But we know we're pregnant. Like we know, and I'm getting all the symptoms and everything, and like we know we're pregnant. But it just still feels like we waited so long that now that it's here, just like this isn't real life. Like, and I don't know when it's gonna hit us. We talked to our friends that they also struggled with infertility, and they waited a lot of years for their baby, and they said that it didn't hit them until like sleep exhaustion once they had their baby in their arms.
Yeah,
and they're like,
I feel like even like it's hard. Even when you're a mom, you're like, I'm a mom. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even hit.
I feel like I'm
It
just
does
gonna be in
take a while.
disbelief.
It does.
Yeah, you're just
Like he's like, oh, once you have a hard belly, and like it's
No,
like,
it's
and I'm
Never
like,
mind,
I
maybe
don't
when
know.
we feel the kick, like I don't know.
Yeah,
bro.
we keep like
we're
saying like
still,
when it's gonna be, but
Yeah, it's wild.
But then like when there's like strong cravings, like when we were at Target, I'm like, I need this cinnamon little piece of roll. I'm like, if I don't have this, I'm gonna lose my mind. Those moments, I'm like, this isn't even my body anymore. Like it's crazy. And then I'm like, oh, I ate. Okay, I'm good now. Like boom, and I'm just like those emotions. I'm like, that's insane. It's been a very interesting journey being pregnant and having this surgery as well, which I'm gonna be posting on like my social medias because
follow her. David will put
it's been like I've been on still trying to make sure I'm making my I'm so on track of like my protein intake, and I'm like trying to make sure that I'm very diligent on like what I'm intaking, making sure it's a healthy amount. I've been on with my doctors like making sure like, okay, what's my nutrition level supposed to be and all that stuff. And I'm like, so it's been very interesting because before getting pregnant, I would see food online and never was like, oh, I really want that. Like cravings weren't a thing. Like it just whatever. Now I'm like constantly hungry, and even when I do eat, I'm like, it's like I want more food, but like I'm full, and I'm like trying to navigate what I need to eat and what I don't need to eat, and like the difference between my stomach and like baby craving, and like it's very interesting. Just the amount of how much I want to eat is so different than beforehand, and so I'm still trying to be very diligent and like making sure again my protein intake is high. But I'm also, a lot of people say like, because I now get like light nausea throughout the day, and so like if I don't eat, I'll get really nauseous, and so I'm like trying to be on track. So I'm like trying to just eat what my body kind of likes at the moment because I get nauseous now. But at the same time, I'm trying to make sure like I'm eating healthy, and so I've just been tracking everything through my app. But it's just been very interesting being pregnant and having the surgery, and my doctors have reassured me that like the baby will be safe and like I'll be okay. But it is more of a high risk pregnancy just because my nutrition level is, well, my nutrients, I intake them very differently now that I have, 20% of my stomach. And so this, I had to get blood work done today, but this blood work was very specific for making sure my nutrient levels are like what they're supposed to be for the baby. And so I'm going to be seeing the doctor hopefully a little bit more just to make sure I'm safe, baby's safe. But it's just been a very interesting, like, my life changed already not so long ago in November with the whole surgery and like my shift with food and everything. And then now everything's kind of like shifting all over again because I'm pregnant on top of it. And so it's like it's been very interesting. But luckily I don't eat nearly as much still. And so I'm like, even when I do want something, I'm like, oh, 2 bites. And then I'm like set on stuff. So it's just been very interesting, a very, very, very interesting thing to navigate. And everyone says like, oh, like that's a very having a boy in your stomach or in your womb thing where like you just want everything and anything. I don't know for sure if that's facts, but like I see a picture of food, I'm like, I want that. Like someone eats a grape, I'm like, I need that grape.
Stop looking at food on Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm
but it's not like I want to, but it's just like I scroll and boom, I'm like, I need that. Like, and if I don't, it's funny. It's been an interesting process, but yeah, follow my social medias for if you guys want to know how it's been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
I think I would be remiss if I didn't speak on this. The original reason why I was asking if you're going to post the video of Kevin is because that's honestly what got me.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
the journey, you guys getting pregnant, obviously. But I really connected with like the way that you reacted. And I think many men will connect with how you reacted. I think many men wait for that moment. And the reason why I say this is, and I mean, good thing that we have all this context now, is because obviously us men obviously are less emotional. We're supposed to be the rock of the family. We talked about it, the logical, be there for them, go like make them feel loved and cared for, and so on and so forth. And us as men tend to fight our own battles usually alone. And like you said, like, oh, I didn't really reach out to anybody. Like you were doing it on your own. You shared a little bit with your wife, but you had to make sure you had discernment to know like when was the right time to share with her, how much to share with her. And so what I'm trying to get at is like many men go through silent battles by themselves, right? And they're carrying a lot of weight on their shoulders. And in that video, and just to double confirm, he eventually like falls to his knees, right?
Yeah, he comes to me on his knees because I'm sitting down. Oh yeah, I'm sitting down on the couch, and then you like come to me on your knees.
And then you just like you lose it.
Yeah.
And in that moment, like why it gets to me so much is because like how many men desire that moment where they can finally just take this weight off, and it's like we're here. Yeah. We made it. Like after all this trekking, like we always like the analogy of climbing a mountain, right? Like you climbed the mountain. You both climbed the mountain. You were climbing. You were being a strong man up ahead. And she sometimes would be like, I'm not moving. Like this sucks. I need it to suck right now. And blah, blah, blah. Like I need to feel. And you're just like, you look up at the mountain. You're just like, we're pretty far. And you're just like, all right, let's sit down. I'll take care of you. I love you. Are you ready to get up? All right, let's go. Let's keep walking, And you see the journey. You see how long it's taking. And the crazy thing is like, even though you're climbing a mountain, like in this metaphorical mountain, you don't know when the end is coming. Like this mountain, like for all you know, you were a quarter way up. Like you weren't even there. Like you don't know when it's coming. And then when you finally reach it, like in that moment when you fall to your knees, it's just like, I just see like a warrior, like finally take off his armor and just like, it's it. That's it. And I think I would be remiss to like not say like, I'm super proud of you, dude. I'm super, super proud of you because again, you were the embodiment of what many men are going through. And you did it. And you did it with patience. And you did it with love. And, I think we live in a culture where we celebrate, talents and gifts or whatever, but we don't celebrate things like this. Men, we don't even look for celebration. We don't even look for, hey, throw me a party or whatever. We usually tend to fly under the radar. And when it's like our birthdays or whatever, we're like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal, whatever. But I think this is worth like bringing up, like, you're worthy of being proud of, dude. Like it's amazing. And that's why, I mean, in that moment, minutes before I was like, I need your advice, bro. Cause in this moment, like I need your help, but yeah, I hope you guys share that moment. Cause I know it's going to connect with a lot of men, a lot of men.
Just bawling. Thank you, David.
We're all crying.
Thank you so much.
That's not even the same.
I'm proud of you, babe.
Thank you. Yeah.
Man, we can end here.
That was good. Yeah. But yes. Well, I think my last thing to anybody that's watching in the waiting is God is faithful. And even when you do feel completely alone, you're not alone. Jesus really went through it all for us to never truly be able to say that with all conviction. Like we really are not alone, and continue to surrender to the Lord. And we are a testament of God's faithfulness, of his goodness, and of just like, God did it. God did it. That's all we can keep saying. It's just.
And honestly, just to add one more thing, just like part of the reason why, like, and I shared this with Mello a while back. I'm like, part of the reason why we get to say that we believe God's going to do it. Like if he said it, he's going to do it, is because like, I remember sometime last year I was reading Genesis, and I was just reminded, I'm like, man, like I didn't think about it until I was reading it again. I'm like, they all, like the patriarchs, went through a season of waiting on their promise of like, having a kid, Abraham, waits until he's 100. You have Isaac, and he's waiting, I forget how many years, same thing, like to have a kid. Then you have Jacob with Rachel. And so like each one of them, like there's this time of waiting, like God said, but now there's waiting, and they don't have like, when is this going to happen? And then there's other people in the Bible as well. You have Tamar, you have Hannah, like you can name so many of people that were waiting for a kid. And then again, there's like this waiting, and then finally, boom, God answers the prayer. And I'm like, I just felt like God, same thing, like in our lives, is just like, he gave us a promise, and now we're in this waiting. How long is it? We have no idea.
Yeah.
But I know that he is faithful no matter what. If he did it then, he's going to do it now. And so I'm believing that, again, the God of the Bible is a God that is alive today, and I'm continuing to believe, again, if he said it, he's going to do it. And so that's where I got my faith in being able to continue to believe and being like, if it says right here that he did it, that this happened, then I'm like, if he's speaking now, like he's gonna do it. He's not a man to lie. And so I just encourage anybody, out there, get to know your God, get to know your Lord, because if you don't know who he is, you don't know his promises or the way that he works, or the things that he speaks, then you're just going to be walking with no help and with no light. There's nothing to look forward to if you don't know who God is. And so knowing who he is just helped me be like, man, I know that you are faithful. I know that you are kind. I know that you are good. And I know that you are a miracle worker. I know these things. And so if you said it, you would do it. And so, yeah, just wanted to.
That's my baby's dad.
You're like, I want another. You want another one, huh?
Get me pregnant again. I love you. I'm so proud of you.
Nah, you guys are gonna be amazing parents.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
you guys have been already amazing.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be amazing stewards of that kid.
Thank you. So excited.
And yeah, we love you guys very much.
We love you guys.
Thank you guys for taking the time to be on this podcast. It is an honor and privilege for you guys to share this story on our podcast, and I know it's going to help and connect with many, 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 many people. And yeah, it's again just an honor and privilege to have you guys, and love you guys.
Thank
and
you.
have
We
you guys
love
in
the
our
nugget.
lives.
I can't wait to spoil this baby so
Thank you
much.
so much. We can't wait
Yes,
for you
too.
to spoil him either. Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Well, that is the end of the podcast. I'm not sure if it's going to be a one-parter or a two-parter.
Yeah.
We will see.
It's almost 2 hours.
I feel like the first part was like a ministry part, and
Yeah.
the second part was just like, the whole story. But we will see. We love you guys. We hope you guys love this podcast. I know that we love it. It's going to be one of our favorites for a very long time. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.